I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Monday, July the 22nd, 2013. Jewish organizations here in the U.S. were hopeful at U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry's announcement on Friday of a resumption of peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians, and expressed their gratitude to Kerry for his efforts. The Jewish Federations of North America expressed excitement and cautious optimism at the breakthrough. JFNA Board of Trustees Chair Michael Siegel said today Jewish communities around the world were encouraged by a new opportunity to make peace in our time. He was hopeful that all sides will continue to work together in the pursuit of such peace. The Jewish Council for Public Affairs Chair Larry Gold said that they have no illusions about the difficulties that lay ahead, but said the status quo was unacceptable and encouraged both sides to show courage, flexibility, and persistence. The Anti-Defamation League National Chair Barry Curtis Lusher and ADL National Director Abe Foxman expressed their hope that the talks will bring Israelis and Palestinians closer to their shared vision of two states living side by side in peace and security. President of the Union for Reform Judaism, Rabbi Rick Jacobs, said the URJ called on both sides to return to the negotiating table with a true willingness to work for peace. Meanwhile, Israeli Finance Minister Yair Lapid met today with Phil Gordon, who is U.S. President Barack Obama's chief advisor on Middle East affairs, at Lapid's office at the Knesset in Jerusalem, where the two discussed the importance of the resumption of the peace process. In reaction to the European Union's decision to designate the military wing of Hezbollah as a terror group was heard in the U.S. as well today as in Israel. Though Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed the decision, he also stated that Israel didn't view any distinction between Hezbollah's armed and political wings. Netanyahu said as far as the state of Israel is concerned, Hezbollah is one organization, the arms of which are indistinguishable. Netanyahu expressed his hope that the decision of the EU would lead to tangible steps against Hezbollah. Jewish organizations here in the U.S. echoed the Prime Minister. The World Jewish Congress called the EU's move a major breakthrough, albeit one that was long overdue. WJC President Ronald Lauder said that although the distinction between a military and a political wing was an artificial one because Hezbollah had a single command structure, he said it will nonetheless have a positive impact if strongly enforced by all EU member nations. The American Jewish Committee called the EU's action a significant step forward in recognizing the true nature of Hezbollah. AJC Executive Director David Harris said while AJC, like the U.S., Canadian, and Dutch governments, considers Hezbollah a single organization, we applaud this decision and the spotlight it shines on Hezbollah terrorist activity. B'nai B'rith International also called the EU move an important first step, but not nearly enough, calling for Hezbollah to be designated as a terror group in its entirety. Meanwhile, Reuters reports that the White House backed the EU's decision, saying it sends a strong message that the group cannot operate with impunity. White House spokesman Jay Carney told reporters today that the decision by the EU should have an impact on Hezbollah's fundraising and logistical activities. As you may have seen on IBA News, the foreign ministers of the 28 European Union countries agreed on the measure in Brussels today to put the military wing of Lebanon's Hezbollah on the EU list of terror organizations, a decision that was strongly driven by the bombing in Burgas, Bulgaria last summer that killed 5 Israeli tourists and a Bulgarian bus driver that is blamed on Hezbollah. The Times of Israel reports that a caucus aimed at enhancing the connection between diaspora Jewry and the State of Israel was reestablished today in the Knesset. The Caucus for Strengthening the Jewish People, which is made up of over 40 Knesset members from across the political spectrum, was established last year, but activity had been put on hold ahead of the elections in Israel earlier this year. The caucus will focus on promoting issues of common interest to the State of Israel and the Jewish world through advocacy and legislation. Prime Minister Netanyahu and opposition leader Sheli Yachimovich issued a joint letter welcoming the caucus members. saying it is unusual for the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition to jointly sign a letter to a parliamentary caucus. Our decision, they said, to do so relates to the importance of the goal of this lobby, strengthening the Jewish people and the connection between Israel and the diaspora, developing the Jewish identity of the young generation of Jews, and deepening the Jewish tradition. And finally today, the first Nefesh B'Nefesh chartered El Al Summer Aliyah flight of 2013 departs from JFK Airport in New York tonight, landing in Israel tomorrow morning for a special arrival ceremony. The flight is carrying 231 new immigrants from North America, including a record number of 106 children, as well as 54 singles. They are joined on the flight by former IDF captive Gilad Shalit, who is flying to show his support and appreciation for North American Aliyah. Family and friends will be able to watch a live feed of the flight's arrival and special welcome ceremony of the new Olim, who will be greeted by several dignitaries, including Immigration Absorption Minister Sofa Landver, Yesh Atid Minister Dov Lipman, and Chairman of the Jewish Agency Natan Sharansky. A total of 2,500 Olim will be departing for Israel this summer on Nefesh B'Nefesh Aliyah flights, in cooperation with the Jewish Agency for Israel, the Immigrant Absorption Ministry, and Karen Kayemet L'Israel. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Monday, July the 22nd, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.